right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name, oh, and I don't have video. There we go. Now what's wrong? Okay, I'll be with you shortly. All right, let's see if I can do this correctly now. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Jessie Law. This is the Expedited Accusation Calendar with the Fulton County State Court. Today is June 23rd, 2022. So we are going to be addressing a list of cases. Most of them, if not all of them, are at the Fulton County Jail. This is a list of cases in which individuals, well, I'm not sure if the jail is on, so I'll wait till the jail comes on. Ms. Gant, are you the only one this afternoon?
No, Your Honor. J. Kim will be signing on.
Okay.
And Your Honor, if I may provide an update, I did submit waivers for position 6, and the others are Moss and Fisher. I don't, let me get.
I'll get them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
All right. So what were the positions?
Position 6, Fisher, and
And you said the other one was Moss?
Moss and Mohan.
Mohan? Okay.
Mohan.
Okay.
And Judge, we do have a private attorney on the Zoom call.
Mr. Maloof, good afternoon, sir. Who do you represent?
His name is Michael Brown, Your Honor.
Okay, that would be position number 3.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I normally am at the mercy of how the jail staff brings in the individuals, so I cannot promise that you would be first up, okay?
No worries, Your Honor. Got plenty of time today. We're doing this via Zoom, so whenever called, ready. How about that?
No, that's what I get. Too many attorneys getting too comfortable with Zoom. Okay.
Sorry, Judge.
That's all right. That's all right. Just teasing. Okay, I'm just waiting for someone at the jail, either the South Annex or Courtroom 1 or
Coming on now.
Courtroom 2.
Courtroom 2 is coming on now, Judge.
Excellent. Courtroom 2? All right, thank you. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As I was saying, my name is Judge Law, and this is the Expedited Accusation Calendar from the Fulton County State Court. These are criminal cases in which individuals were recently arrested and charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses. Upon being booked at the Fulton County Jail, their cases were then formally accused by the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, which is the prosecutor in this particular calendar. This would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer, during which time the defendant will be informed of the case number, the charges brought against the defendant, your next court date, and the bond, as well as who your attorney will be. Please remember that if you are accused of one or more misdemeanor charges, you do have certain rights, and please remember these rights. The first one is the right to remain silent about the facts of your case. Anything you say during the course of this virtual recorded proceeding that's being live streamed. Your statements not only will be documented, but also will be used against you in the treatment of your case. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, we will have counsel from the Public Defender's Office to represent you. In certain matters, the Public Defender's Office may have to recuse, and we would have to appoint conflict counsel to represent you. I don't know if I have conflict counsel at the present time, but we will take them up as we go along. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
This is position 15, Pierce.
Okay. And do you have a Michael Brown as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay, if we can do him next if possible, but right now let's go to Pierce. We have Shimon Pierce, case number 22 CR 004-005H. Mr. Pierce has been accused of the following misdemeanor charges: fare evasion, criminal trespass, and obstruction of a law enforcement officer from June 22nd, 22. All right. Mr. Pierce, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any priors, Mr. Tucson, any recent priors?
35 total. Last arrest was last month. He got an open case in the cab for trespass on probation for felony obstruction, criminal trespass, and felony shoplifting. I also got history out of South Carolina.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Duncan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
This incident occurred at the Garnett MARTA station at 235 Peachtree Street. There was an officer working a plainclothes detail when they observed the defendant in this case forcefully pushed through the fare gate without paying their required fee and try to board the northbound train at that time. When the officer approached the defendant in this case, the defendant became combative after being told to exit the train and began to flail and pull away from the officer. The defendant in this case was instructed loudly several times to calm down. However, the defendant continued to resist the verbal commands of this officer. At the time of this incident, Your Honor, this defendant was subject to a current MARTA suspension, which is indicated by the warrant to be active from June 17th, 2022 and expiring on April 15th, 2022. Given the fact that there is a current suspension and this defendant does have criminal trespass convictions in the past, as well as a fugitive from justice arrest in 2019, we're concerned about the risk of reoffense and this defendant being a flight risk.
Could you repeat that suspension date again?
June 17th, 2022 until August 15th, 2022.
I see. Okay.
So given the facts and the all factors present in this case, we're going to request a bond of total of $1,500 surety. We want to have a $500 surety for the criminal, my apologies, $500 signature, so it's a split, $500 signature for the fare evasion, $1,000 for the willful obstruction, and a actual $1,500 for the criminal trespass, making that a total of $3,000, my apologies. Stay away from the Garnett MARTA station, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Pierce is 21 years old and he has been here in Georgia for the last 3 years. And he's single. His family is of course, in South Carolina. He does not have a job. He completed up to 10th grade in high school, and he is planning to get his GED. He is currently homeless, so we are recommending social worker services for him. And he does have a diabetic medical condition, and he really has to have a more private place for his medical condition. So we would like to request for signature on bonds, considering his financial situation. And yet, if your honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for $250 minimum surety bond, your honor, for total. So $500 surety bond for fare evasion, a signature on bond for fare evasion, $1,000, signature on bond for obstruction of law enforcement officer, and $250 good bond for criminal trespass if it has to be done by good bond. Thank you, your honor.
Thank you. So he's 21 years old and he's got 35 adult arrests so far. He pled in July 30th, 2019. He pled on October 12th, 2019. He pled on November 6th, 2019, June 27, 2019. More recently, he pled on February 21st, 2022, and again on May 24th, 2022. And those were just the Fulton County cases.
Yes.
Bond on the fare evasion is 100. On the criminal trespass is going to be 1,900. And on the obstruction is 500. His total bond is going to be set at 2,500. It is a surety bond. His next court date is April?
July 7th.
Next court date is July 7, 2022. And the condition to the bond is to stay away from all Martyr property, not a single one, not just Garnett Street, all of them, including their bathrooms, their parking lots, and whatever facilities they may offer. And we will see you on July 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, your honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 3, Brown. You're done. You're done, Pierce. Get up. Come on, Mr. Brown. Thank you.
All right, we are addressing Michael Brown, case number 22 CR 003995J. And Mr. Brown has been accused of battery, domestic violence, criminal trespass, and cruelty in the third degree from a May 8th, 2022 incident. Mr. Brown, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Michael Maloof. With regards to this particular case, Mr. Tucson, any priors?
Third arrest, last was 2014 for a window tint. He don't have any violence.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorella, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. For the battery family violence, the state's asking for a $5,000 good bond, criminal trespass, a $2,500 good bond, and for the cruelty to children, third degree charge, a $2,500 good bond. That's a total of $10,000, and that will be a good bond. The conditions is that he have no contact with the victims. Perlia Kennard, for the record, that's spelled P-E-A-R-L as in log, I-A. Kennard is spelled K-A-Y, and as in Nancy, A-R-D as in dog. And the second victim is a juvenile with the initials M as in Mary, B as in boy. For the defendant to take a one-day anger management class, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, this defendant poses a risk of intimidating the victims. Not only that, Your Honor, but he poses a risk to public safety. This occurred on May 8th, 2022 in Atlanta. The call remarks when the 911 call was made stated that the victim, Ms. Kennard, advised that the defendant, Michael Brown, had abused her and thrown her out of the car. Ms. Kennard advised that she and the defendant were driving with their 2-year-old son, MB, in the back seat. The defendant punched her on the left side of her face, opened the car door, and pushed her out of the vehicle as it was in motion while the juvenile victim was in the back. Ms. Kennard said she was recording the defendant because she has a restraining order against him and wanted to spend Mother's Day with her son. The defendant took her cell phone because he was frustrated about the victim recording him from the victim and threw it out of the vehicle's windows. And the two witnesses that were at the scene, Your Honor, witnessed the physical altercation while it was occurring inside the vehicle. And they also witnessed this defendant push the victim out of the vehicle while it was in motion. So for this reason, Your Honor, even though he does have a light criminal history, just looking at the facts of this case, the allegations, what was done, it's very violent, Your Honor. For that reason, we are asking for a $10,000 surety bond with the condition stated. Nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Malou?
Yes, Your Honor. First, I have not seen any of these statements. I have spoken to Ms. Kennard. Ms. Kennard has a restraining order against her. There's a restraining order against her that allows contact regarding the juvenile that's been mentioned that will not be named here. The juvenile is a 2-year-old individual that is my client's son. My client has no violent history whatsoever. He's 37 years of age. He's gainfully employed. He turned himself in when he found out a warrant existed. He went to the jail last night. I went with him at 8 p.m. to turn in. I do not believe he poses any risk to run, to reoffend. And I do not, right now, these are simply allegations. And I think that a reasonable bond would be a signature bond, given the fact that he has, given the fact he turned himself in, has no prior history of anything like this. And, innocent till proven guilty. Finally, Judge, I would ask that there be a contact provision as to the child, the minor in this, to allow contact regarding the child, as he is the father, and I believe there are legitimation proceedings that are in place right now. So that would be the request, is that there would be permissible conduct and a signature bond, or permissible contact regarding the child only, and for a signature bond. She came to my office and signed an affidavit requesting that. I have not had an opportunity to send that to the solicitor of the court because it has a juvenile. I couldn't redact the juvenile's name, and I did not want to put the name out there as a matter of public, but I could happily provide the court and the solicitor that if they would like.
Tell me about the restraining order. When was it issued?
It's almost expired, Judge. It was a restraining order he took out against her. This is when the legitimation suit began. I want to say that it was, I believe it expires, the restraining order, at the end of next month. I do not have a copy in front of me.
All right. On the battery, it's going to be a $2,000 surety bond. On the criminal trespass, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. And the cruelty charge is going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. The total bond is a $6,000 split bond. No further contact with Pierre Leah Kennard. If there is going to be any transfer between Ms. Kennard and Mr. Brown, it can only be done through a third party. He himself cannot facilitate any transfer between Ms. Kennard and the minor MB. It must be done through a third party. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, but he himself needs to stay 200 yards away from her, and he cannot communicate with her in person, through a phone, through a third party, through any kind of phone or electronic device, or even on social media. Mr. Brown, you need to understand that now you are refrained from any contact with Ms. Kennard, which includes picking her up for special events or holidays. If there are any future occasions and it's discovered that you are having contact with Ms. Kennard, you could run the risk of being back in jail and your bond being revoked. Your next court date is going to be July 7th. If he makes bond, then His court date will be sent to his current address. And if Mr. Maloof, you file an entry of appearance, then notice will also be sent to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will do that, and I will
Right.
inform the family.
No, understood. He's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcoholic beverages, and he's not to possess any weapons or any firearms.
Understood, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Judge Law, for the criminal and the cruelty is SOB through the jail?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have position 1, Mr. Allen.
We have State versus Baron Allen, accused of simple battery, terroristic threats, and criminal trespass from June 22nd, 2022. Mr. Allen, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant.
We
Mr.
also have a
Tucson?
visitor here.
I'm sorry?
We also have a visitor here for Mr. Allen.
Okay, thank you. Mr.
This is-
Tucson?
This is ninth arrest. Last was 2015, suspended registration. 2012 battery DV, battery cruelty in the third, those were dismissed. And a battery, simple battery from 05 dismissed.
All right, that's good. Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For the simple battery family violence, we're asking for a $3,000 good bond. For the terroristic threats, a $2,000 good bond. And for the criminal trespass, a $2,000 good bond is a total of $7,000. No contact with the victim. Her name is Brihanna Fief, and that's spelled B as in boy for the record, RYHAN as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, AH, and the last name is F as in Frank, IFE. To stay away from the incident location at 730 Signature Trace in Palmetto, Georgia. For a one-day anger management class, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law while he's out on bond. Your Honor, this defendant poses a risk of intimidating the victim in this case. In this case, which occurred on June 22nd, 2022, the defendant grabbed the victim, Ms. Fief, by the hair and asked her who was messaging her while she was on her phone. Ms. Fief advised she could not get the defendant off of her and called for help. Her juvenile daughter witnessed the event. Her daughter had actually pinched the defendant's arms in order to get the defendant off of her mother. The child witness confirmed she heard the altercation from her room, and then she saw the defendant on top of her mother pulling her hair. The juvenile witness stated that the defendant finally got off of her mother due to her pinching his arms, and then witnessed the defendant take her mother's phone. The juvenile witness called 911 from her cell phone, in which the officer did verify that. The defendant only admitted to the officer that he only had a verbal argument with Ms. Fief. Ms. Fief said the defendant told her to get out of the property and threatened that he would punch her. The officer asked the defendant about the threats and against Ms. Fief, and the defendant denied these threats. However, surveillance footage showed and the officer heard the defendant tell Ms. Fief something to the effect of, "Get out of here before I bust you in your motherfucking face." Excuse my language, Your Honor. The defendant was arrested, and all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, further, he does pose a risk of reoffending. He has 9 cycles. He has domestic violence charges on his record, and one arrest in 2012, battery family violence. It was dismissed. The arrest was made by Atlanta Police Department. A 2005 battery and simple battery arrest made by East Point Police Department. It was dismissed. A 2003 simple battery by College Park Police Department, no disposition. Violation of parole back in 2003, State Board of Pardons and Parole he was ordered to continue parole, Your Honor. Though these violations may seem remote, Your Honor, this still shows that this defendant has a criminal history and battery charges on his history. Nothing further.
Thank you. Deputy in courtroom 2, does the witness want to testify, or the person who's there in support? I don't know. I don't know who it is.
Let me find out. Do you want to say anything?
I just want to say I'm his sister. Baby.
All right. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Judge Lal. If you'd like to add anything, I need to place you under oath. Would you like to say something? Do you
Yes.
solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And you said you're his sister?
Yes, I'm his sister.
Your name, please?
My name is Kimberly Allen.
Kimberly,
Yes,
last name?
Allen.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes, Ms. Gant?
I have not had the occasion to speak to this witness. I will object to this testimony.
All right, understood. Objection overruled. Ms. Allen, so you've already heard the request by the prosecutor that they want to have a surety bond and for him to stay away from the location and away from Ms. Fife. Do you have any comment about the bond?
No, I'm confident that he would abide by whatever the court's order.
All right, what else would you like to tell me?
I know you all spoke of his past, his criminal history, but he's come a long way. He's working, and I'm concerned that, this may, interfere with his job, this situation. I'm sure if he's released on bond, he will keep his distance. Before all of this happened, I had a conversation with Brianna, and Brianna doesn't want to leave the situation, but I'm sure Barron will follow whatever the court recommends.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ms. Allen. You may.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
The state would like, would ask Your Honor to take this witness as a biased witness, as this witness is her sister under OCGA 24-6-608. Nothing further.
Well, being his sister and, clearly a favorable report from her, I mean, it's implicit that's the bias, but I'll take that into consideration. Thank you, Ms. Allen. You may return to your seat.
All right.
Judge, I just walked back in the courtroom. What was the bond amount?
I haven't said it yet. I have to hear from Ms. Gant.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Ms. Gant, what would you recommend?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm requesting a signature bond on Mr. Allen's behalf. He is recommended. He denies the allegations. He informs me that he is a truck driver, that he came home late. He was very tired. Ms. Fife entered his room. He was more or less just basically trying to get her out of there. He denies making any physical contact with her whatsoever. He states that he assures me that it is not him that is witnessed on this video footage of making those terroristic threats. Your Honor, just a little bit more about Mr. Allen. He is 43 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. Of course, he has a sister here. He also has two children that he shares with the complaining witness, Ms. Brianna Fife. There is a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and he tells me that they both stay in the home together. He also has 4 other minor children under the age of 18. He is involved in their lives as well and provides financial support. Your Honor, we are opposed to the stay away at the incident location. Mr. Allen informs me that that is in fact his residence, and he has started proceedings to have Ms. Fife removed from the deed. He has an attorney for that. Your
I'm
Honor,
sorry, from the deed?
Yes, it is a mortgage. He's trying to get her name removed from the deed.
All right.
All right, so further, Your Honor, Mr. Allen he obtained a GED. He informs me that he is a truck driver, although he is not a commercial truck driver. He started a business a few months ago in logistics. He is self-employed. He informs me that this business is not profitable as it is a new business. Again, we deny the allegations. I do acknowledge my client's history. However, I did not hear about any violent convictions in terms of intimidating the witness. Your Honor, I had the occasion to speak with Ms. Brianna Fife. She wants to continue having contact with him, as does my client, and she informed me that she would be on the Zoom call. Your Honor, regarding reoffending, my client has not had any contact with law enforcement since 2015, and the parole violation was back in 2003. And as we heard from his sister, he had his issues with the law, and I believe that his sister corroborates that he has taken a different path. And for these reasons, Your Honor, I am requesting a signature bond. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible for a signature bond, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000 for the simple battery, no more than $500 for the terroristic threats, and no more than $500 for the criminal trespass. Again, we are opposed to the stay away order and would ask for no violent contact. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. The only other person that's not identified on the Zoom is a Zoom user. So is that Ms. Fife?
It is.
Ms. Fife, did you want to add anything to the proceedings?
I mean, I just don't want a stay away order. Like, I'm opposed
Your
to
Honor,
that.
I'm going to object. Can this witness be, the state's witness be sworn in, please?
I just need to get a word in edgewise. So Ms. Fife, first of all, you need to have your video on. And then we need to place you under oath so you can testify.
Okay, well, let me see, because it's telling me. All right, let me see if I can go into there. Give me 1 second if it's gonna let me do it.
And Your Honor, while we are waiting for Ms. Fife to join, Mr. Allen, also I neglected to tell you, he tells me that he does not have an alternate residence, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, just hearing the fact that the victim does want contact, I understand she's about to speak. We're still asking for no contact, especially as you've heard from opposing counsel, he's trying to remove her from the deed. So there's still some issues going on there, and the facts of this matter.
No, that's not our position, Your Honor. That's not our position. My client expressed to me that he wants to have contact with her. He in no way stated that he wants her to her name removed because he doesn't want contact with her.
He wants her removed from the deed. I believe that's what you said.
Correct, but
so he wants her to have no property interest in the property in which they both are jointly indebted for.
Correct.
Okay, so how is that not removing her from the property?
I am not the state contends that they're having issues.
Yeah, clearly
that is the basis for no contact. What I'm saying is that his decision to remove her from the deed has no bearing on whether or not he wants to have contact with her. That is my position.
All right, so I have Zoom user who's appearing somewhere. All right. Ms. Brianna Fife, I'm removing you from the Zoom because you are in a moving motor vehicle. Ms. Lewis, please remove Ms. Fife from the Zoom. All right, we're going to proceed with this hearing. Okay, on the simple battery is going to be a $2,000 bond. On the terroristic threats is $1,500. The criminal trespass is $1,500. That's a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Allen will report to pretrial once a month. Mr. Allen will attend and complete the one-day anger awareness program with pretrial services. He will also have no further contact with Brianna Fife. He's to stay 200 yards away from Ms. Fife, not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, including in person, through a third party, through a phone, an electronic device, and even on social media. In order to have visitation and joint custody with regards to the children with whom he shares with Ms. Fife, he will need to file a legitimation action with the appropriate superior court and obtain a court order establishing visitation and custody with the children that he shares with Ms. Fife. I understand that they are significant partners. They're not husband and wife, correct?
Correct, Your Honor. And I do apologize, Your Honor. My internet froze for a moment. The last thing that I heard you say is that it's a $5,000 signature bond, pretrial services monthly.
$5,000 signature bonds with pretrial. He needs to report to pretrial once a month. He's to complete a one-day anger awareness program. No further contact with Brianna Fife. And he is to stay away from 730 Signature Trace, Palmetto, Georgia. He is not to undertake any actions that would remove Miss Fife from the property unless she voluntarily vacates the property. He can go back to the property one time only for a visit not to exceed 2 hours. He must be accompanied with a police officer so that he can retrieve his personal belongings. And if it's verified that Miss Fife and her children no longer reside at that property, then he can return to the property. But as long as Miss Fife remains on the property with her children, he cannot live under the same roof with her. Within 30 days of being released on a signature bond, he will update the court clerk's office with his new address, and we will send him a notice of his next court date. No, he's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and he's not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Thank you.
And Your Honor, regarding third-party transfer, did you state that he has to go through legitimization action?
Yes, yes. He needs a court order to establish visitation and custody and child support and all that good stuff.
Excuse me, Your Honor, can I say something?
I don't know who's speaking.
It's
All right.
Brianna Fife.
All right. Now that you're parked, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right. What would you like to tell us?
Yeah, because I just heard you say it, but I oppose of that whole no contact order. Like, I do not want there to be a no contact order due like to the situation. I think it's just taken too far, and so I don't agree with that, and that's not something that I want to be set in place for us. Like, there is no threat to myself or my children, so I do not want that in place.
Ms. Fife, this is a domestic violence battery case. Once the case comes in the province of the court and the prosecutor, the only people who make a decision with regards to how the case proceeds is the court and the prosecutor. So if you haven't, listen very carefully. If you have an issue with the bond order, please confide with the Solicitor General's office, Victim Advocate Office, and they can file the appropriate motion to modify the bond order. Right now,
I already spoke to them though, and I told them I don't want that. I told them that. So I'm not understanding.
We've heard your preference, but based on the allegations set forth in the warrant, based on his record history, at the present time, this is the court order. Thank you.
I don't agree with that, but okay.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Your Honor, I am going to leave the Zoom meeting and log back on
Okay.
regarding concerns from my internet. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Oh, you got the stamp. Thank you.
Got
Thank you.
Position 6, Fisher.
Yeah.
No, you do too. You and him.
All right. This is Kevin Duane Fisher. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And he
All
also
right.
has a visitor in the gallery.
All right. Mr. Fisher is represented by Miss Gant. So do you have she's still trying to reconnect back with the Zoom. So do we have another case with Miss Kim?
Yes. Okay, you can.
Mr. Fisher, have a seat. I'm waiting for your attorney to get back in.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Kim,
Yes, I'm here.
let's see, which cases do you hold, carry? Give me the earliest one you have.
First one is 14, position 14, Mullins Willie.
Is Mr. Willie in the courtroom?
Your Honor, we have cases that I have a waiver of appearance filed.
Okay, is Willie Mullins one of them?
Nope. Remicky, Dudley.
I'm gonna
position
go ahead.
16.
Judge, I'm gonna go ahead and do all of Ms. Kim's cases.
Okay,
We're gonna go to position 21, Mr. Woodard.
okay, thank you. We'll handle the waiver cases at the end of the calendar, Miss Kim.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, we have Anthony Woodard, case number 22 CR 004-009F. Mr. Woodard is accused of misdemeanor possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce, obstruction of an officer, giving false information to an officer, and failure to have license on person. Mr. Woodard, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Ms. J. Kim. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
This is ninth arrest. 2020 possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. Misdemeanor possession of marijuana, possession of drug-related objects.
Your Honor, if I may, there is a second case for this defendant as well.
Oh. Oh, you're right. Okay, so Mr. Woodard has another case. 22 CR 004-008F, battery, domestic violence from February 27, 2022. I guess that warrant was outstanding pursuant to the traffic stop in this case. Okay.
And he got the
So-
open bench warrant,
From the, which case?
Superior Court.
Oh, okay. Do you have the case number?
22 SC 182489. It's a lot of them.
Oh, that's the 2 bench warrants, right?
Yeah,
In 2
but it's
separate
several
cases.
charges. Yeah, separate
Yeah,
charges
okay.
though, per case. Yeah.
22 SC
182489.
182-489. What was the other case
5
number?
charges with that indictment. Then 15 SC 133494. It's 2
Oh.
charges with that indictment.
Okay.
Your Honor, I have another one. 20 CP 194372.
194372. Is that a Y?
Um,
No, that's a unindicted case. Okay. Okay. Ms. Duncan, what is the bond recommendation for positions 21 and 22?
okay, for position 21, which is the
Battery? Mhm.
for the battery case. The state's position in that case is a $3,500 surety. No further contact with the victim in this case is third-party child contact, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. The victim in this case is Shakaria Edwards. Let me spell it for the record.
Oh, I've got it. That's all right.
Okay, and in this case, Your Honor, it occurred on February 27th, 2022 at 1247 Joseph E. Boone. Officers met with the victim in this case, Ms. Edwards, and she advised that her child's father, the defendant in this case, attacked her. What happened in this case, Your Honor, is that Ms. Edwards indicated to officers that she was in an ongoing dispute with her child's father. So she wanted to minimize interactions. So she took his sister with her to the location to get what the defendant said would be gifts for their child. And upon reaching the location, instead of Ms. Edwards going into the home, his sister went into the home for her to retrieve the gifts. While she went inside to get the gifts, the defendant in this case came outside and began to poke this victim in the face and tell her to get out of the car and try to pull her out of the car in this case, Your Honor. And then once he started poking her in the face and telling her to get out, She got out of the car and immediately the defendant started to physically attack her by punching and hitting her in the face. She initially also advised officers that in addition to the attack by her child's father, he called his girlfriend outside, Miss Sharonda Wheat, and told her to get this hoe. And his girlfriend started to fight Miss Edwards as well. As a result of that fight, the sister had come back outside, Miss Levita Woodard, and she broke up the fight between the two. And because of the fight, she had scratches and abrasions on the right side of her face, as well as a swollen jaw due to the altercation, Your Honor. We are concerned about the risk of intimidation with this particular witness and the safety of this, intimidation of this witness and this victim, obviously, because they share a child together. This defendant does not have any violent convictions. However, we're concerned about the risk of reoffense here because, as stated, this particular victim was trying to de-escalate any tension between the two, and he decided to provoke her and attack her in addition to his girlfriend. So for those reasons, we're going to request the bond as stated with those conditions for that case.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Woodard is 26 years old, and we would like to ask for signature on bond for battery charge. I believe this is only one violence-related case. He has been here in Georgia all his life, 26 years. He has 3 children, 7 years old, 2 years old, and 6 months. And he's expecting 2 more children on the way. So he has a GED, and due to the fact that he has not had any employment for the last 2 years, it will be very difficult for him to make any kind of bonds at this point financially. So we would like to request for a signature bond for this particular one. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. He would like to say something. If we could unmute courtroom 2. Mr. Woodard, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say, your statements can and will be used against you, especially by the prosecutors.
Mr. Woodard, I strongly recommend you not to say anything. Stay silent, please.
All right. On the position 22, on the possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce, that's going to be $500.
Your Honor,
Obstruction.
if I may be heard for that case.
Oh, isn't this the traffic stop?
No, we were doing the battery family violence case.
We're still doing the battery family violence case?
You did not give your ruling on that case, Your Honor.
No, I won't. I'm still going. Tell me about position 22. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yes, Your Honor, this is separate and distinct incident. This incident occurred on yesterday. Officers observed this defendant holding in his hand what he believed to be a marijuana cigarette, and they initiated a traffic stop at 2462 Martin Luther King. And when they attempted to stop the vehicle, the person inside the vehicle quickly exited and began to walk away. Officers exited their vehicle and they told the person who exited that car to stop and return to the vehicle. However, the defendant at that time threw down whatever he had in his hand before complying with the officer's request to get back in the car. Upon returning to the car, officers approached the vehicle and they immediately could smell marijuana coming from the defendant inside of the car. They asked this defendant for a license. He did not provide that information. And when asked for his name, initially, Your Honor, he did give an incorrect name. He gave the name of one Darius Woodard, that's Wandarius Woodard, and additionally gave an incorrect birth date of September 29th, 1992, and then again, September 25th, 1995. Both of those were found to be false. Officers did eventually get the correct information and found that he had open cases, as we stated earlier. When they informed him that he was going to be arrested, he attempted to flee from officers through the other side of the car. officers had to grab this defendant by his pants buckle and ankle to stop him from running from the officers, and they continued to tussle with this defendant, Your Honor. They told him to calm down and he wouldn't. He had to be taken down with several maneuvers. Because of those facts and circumstances, Your Honor, for this case, we have a concern about the risk of reoffense and the flight risk due to the FTAs we mentioned and the nature of this particular offense.
Well, he's got those bench warrants in Superior Court. He's not going anywhere, at least as far as I can tell. So what bond are you recommending for this traffic stop?
For this case, we're going to recommend a $2,500 total surety bond, $250 for the possession, $250 for the no license, $1,000 for the giving false name, and $1,000 for the willful obstruction, given the facts and the IALA factors present in this case, in addition to no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law.
Thank you, Ms. Duncan. On position 22, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, and no driving unless he has a valid, correct identification and driver's license attached to him at all times, along with adequate insurance and proper registration for the vehicle he operates. No illegal drugs. Marijuana is still illegal in Georgia, people. It's not legal, even though even New York has apparently changed its mind, but we are still not there yet. So no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms.
Right.
Now, with respect to the battery domestic violence situation, that's going to be a $3,500 surety bond. No further contact with Cherie Carrier Edwards to stay away from the incident location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and a one-day anger awareness program that he would, well, no, strike that. Just no contact, no drugs, alcohol, and weapons.
And Your Honor, the state is not requesting a stay away from the incident location because the record indicates that the victim went to this location, which is his location, to get things.
So just stay away from the victim then. All right. So no contact with Miss Edwards, stay 200 yards away from her. Do not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. Unfortunately, Mr. Woodard, we cannot release you even if you make these bonds because you have 2 separate bench warrants in 2 separate felony cases. And you also have another open felony case. So I guess you have a full plate.
Judge Law.
And the child contact?
Yes, Mr. Woodard.
Please, Mr. Woodard, I would like to recommend you to stay silent. It's your constitutional right.
I was just going to see if you have a question about his bond.
Sure.
I just have a question about the bench warrants. That's all.
Oh, I have no answers for your bench warrants. That's in Superior Court.
Your Honor, you didn't speak to what type of contact you would allow for the child involved.
I don't have a cruelty charge. Oh, you mean the child he shares with Miss Edwards?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah. That was going to be a no contact until he goes through a legitimation action.
Judge Law, what is the breakdown for the obstruction and the given false name?
It's all 500 per count for a total of 2,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
No driving unless he has a valid license with him at all times. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And position 21 and 22 are going to be further notice to July 7th. If he makes bond on all his cases, then we'll send him notice to his next court date.
Okay. Next, we have position. Next, position 14, Mr. Mullins.
Willie Mullins is represented by Miss Kim
Yes,
in
Your Honor.
case 22 CR 004004A. Mr. Mullins has been accused of public drunk and criminal trespass from a June 22nd, 2022 incident. Yes, Mr. Tucson?
56 total. He was arrested last month on MARTA, disorderly conduct, simple assault and obstruction. He's on probation for that.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mitchell, I'm familiar with the warrant. Do you have a recommendation for Mr. Mullins?
Your Honor, there's a current bond of $4,000 surety, and the state's going to request that that bond remain the same with the stay away from MARTA at ADET and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As heard from pretrial, the defendant has an extensive history of 56 cycles. He has a high risk of reoffending, being that part of his history, a lot of these incidences have occurred at MARTA. The last incidents occurred at the same 5 Points MARTA station. That was when he was just convicted of the fare evasion, disorderly conduct, simple assault, and obstruction in that case. He also had the bond condition to stay away from MARTA, which he violated. He also was convicted of a criminal trespass and public drunkenness in 2018, where he was given a stay away from MARTA again. Those are just his recent cases, but again, he does have an extensive history involving MARTA. So based on that, we are requesting that that bond remain the same.
Noted, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Mullins is not 21 years old, but 61 years old, and he has been disabled for the last 10 years. He has not been able to work because of his disability. He cannot move his back and leg that well. And also he has to have his high blood pressure medicine all the time, and he has not been able to have it at the jail right now. And he has no parents, no children. He's not married, so he has nobody who can help him out from the jail right now. He graduated from high school, and we would like to request for signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give it to him because of his probation condition and also, last arrest at MARTA, we would like to request for $250 a surety bond, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
On the public drunk is going to be $100. On the criminal trespass is going to be $1,000. Total bond is $1,100. This is a surety bond to stay away from all MARTA property, no alcohol, and no illegal drugs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next court date is July 7. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Judge, can we go back to position 6 for Mr. Fisher? I'm not sure if Ms. Gann is available.
Ms. Gant, are you back with us? Yes, she is.
I am, Your Honor.
Come on.
I was not aware that he would appear. I submitted a waiver.
You see, you go away for 5 seconds and what happens? Okay, so we have Kevin Duane Fisher, case number 22 CR 003998B. Mr. Fisher has been accused of battery, domestic violence, and cruelty in the 3rd degree from August 27, 2021. Mr. Fisher, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. Mr. Tucson?
Hit the rest. We got 2009 was the last fade to appear, driving without a valid license.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorella? Yes.
Yes.
Recommend?
Yes, Your Honor. For the battery, family violence, a $4,500 good bond. For the cruelty to children in the 3rd degree charge, a $1,000 good bond, a total of $5,500. No contact with the victim, and her name is Kim Thomas. Traditional spelling, and I believe she's in the Zoom hearing right now, Your Honor. No violent contact with his daughter, and she's a juvenile AF. To stay away from the incident location at 5645 Morning Creek Circle in South Fulton, Georgia. a one-day anger management class, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, this defendant poses
Oh, I'm familiar with the warrant, so we're not going to get into those details.
if I may, Your Honor, I would like to point some things out for my argument as I represent the state, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, he poses a risk of intimidating the victim here. And when the officer spoke to the victim, Ms. Kim Thomas, who said the defendant, Kevin Fisher, she told the officers that they lived together. It's her boyfriend. He was angry at her about his daughter.
Yes,
daughter situation.
I've got that part. I've got that part. But
he
but
yelled. Go ahead.
What you're saying that? Do you believe that the victim that he still poses a threat to the alleged victim, Ms. Thomas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right, tell me why, without going into the details of the warrant.
Well, in order for me to state my reasons, it's the violent nature of what occurred here, Your Honor.
I know what he allegedly struck and so forth. So there appears to be, according to the warrant, there was swelling and discoloration to Ms. Thomas's left cheek back in August of 2021. So I'm trying not to get into the indelicate situation giving rise to this warrant. So Ms. Tortorella, if you can give me your bond recommendation, I will understand where you're coming from. And if there's any other information you have about why you still believe he poses a threat to her, Ms. Thomas, that is.
As far as intimidation of witness, nothing other than that. As far as bond, Your Honor, he does have 8 cycles, as you've heard from pretrial, so he does pose a risk of reoffending. He was convicted of a felony back in 2005, a burglary offense at a Liberty County Superior Court. Though it's remote, Your Honor, it shows that he has a felony on his record, and he poses a risk of committing felonies while out on bond. He has a couple of violation of probations on his record all the way back. The earliest is 2008 from what I see out of Liberty County. And he does have an FDA, like you've heard from pretrial, which the latest is 2009 out of Gwinnett County. We did speak to the victim. She says that they have been together for 12 years. They live together. Both names are on the lease. The victim stated the defendant has never hit her before. This was a first. She also stated the defendant was upset because of the reasons, Your Honor, as you know, and that she does not want to pursue prosecution. Your Honor, I understand that that's his daughter that was involved in this case. That's why we are okay with no violent contact with her, but no contact with this victim, Your Honor.
Understood. Thank you. Ms. Gant, with all due respect, on the battery is going to be a $4,000 signature bond. On the cruelty is going to be a $1,000 signature bond. It's a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He's to have no further violent contact with the Kim Thomas. He may return to the home. He's to have no further violent contact with the minor in question. I don't have her abbreviations. No illegal drugs, no alcohol consumption, no weapons, and no firearms. And he will attend and complete a 4-week anger management class program while he's out on a signature bond through pretrial at his expense. These classes must begin within 60 days of being released from the jail. He will report to pretrial once a month, and he cannot afford to get arrested again. Otherwise, he loses his signature bond. Do you have any questions about your bond, Mr. Fisher?
No, ma'am.
And Your Honor,
yes.
I'm
yes.
sorry.
Go
For
ahead.
the record, the child's initials are A and F as in Frank.
All right. No further violent contact with Ms. Kim Thomas and with AF. All right. And pretrial will make sure that he shows proof of his anger management classes beginning at least 2 months from now. Thank you.
How many classes is it?
This is a 4-week anger management class. He will be taking it at his expense.
Oh.
And Your Honor, what was that bond, that UJR amount?
It's not UJR, it's a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial and a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial. UJR is a judicial release with no bond amount set. So that's the distinction.
Oh, okay.
Well, if I may, Your Honor, thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Okay, moving on. Next case, please.
Position 18, Taylor. Morris.
Michael Taylor is accused of criminal trespass and simple battery from a June 22nd, 2022 incident, case number 22 CR 004-007F. Mr. Taylor, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. And this is position 18. Mr. Tucson?
39 total.
Your Honor, I apologize, but position 18 is actually a conflict case, and we don't have a conflict attorney today. I was about to write a chat, and I was actually writing a chat right now, but.
All right, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe we have conflict counsel present. So, Mr. Taylor, the public defender's office will not be representing you. We would have to appoint a conflict defense attorney, and one will be available for you by your next court proceeding. So in the meantime, I'd like to remind you of your right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. The only issue I'm going to address right now is what type of bond you qualify for and how much. Understood? Francois, were you all able to hear
Sorry.
everything?
The screen froze. It just came back on.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, you do have a right to counsel. However, the public defender's office will not be representing you. You need to be represented by conflict counsel, and one is not available at the present time. So please remember your right to remain silent. Anything you say, your statements can and will be used against you. We will have a conflict counsel appointed to represent you by your next court proceeding. The issue we're going to address right now is your bond, what type and how much. So I'm sorry, Mr. Tucson, you said 39 arrest cycles?
Yeah, 39. Hold on.
Does he have any failure to appears or probation violations?
Well, the last arrest was in April 2021 for probation. He got a battery conviction out of state court from 2021. You want the case number?
Yes, please.
21 CR 000-691Y. Yeah, he got probation violations in 2018, criminal damage to property, second degree conviction. That's it.
Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor. In addition to what pretrial stated of relevance in his history, in the last 5 years or so, he has several disorderly conduct convictions that were commuted from criminal trespass, as well as criminal trespass, damage to property in 2018, criminal trespass in 2019, guilty probation violations in 2019, and a battery in 2021. I just want to make sure that at this time, this defendant is waiving his right to have an attorney.
I can't get him an attorney, and so there's no waiver of counsel. Waiver of counsel is the tantamount constitutional waiver, and no, he will get appointed counsel. I just don't have one available. Unless, Mr. Taylor, I've already advised you of your right to remain silent. What would you like to say?
Proceed, ma'am.
What?
I just want to proceed with this case, ma'am.
Okay.
I can't make out what he said.
I would like to proceed with this
He
case.
said that he would like to proceed, Your Honor, with the case.
Yeah, we are proceeding. We're listening to the bond recommendation.
Right. And Judge Law, I think the reason Ms. Duncan was asking that is because normally with the other magistrate judges, they do inquire as to whether the defendant wants to proceed without counsel today or wants to be reset to the next SEA date when a conflict counsel could be available. That's
No.
why she was asking.
No, let's move on.
All right.
Okay. With that being said, as I was saying, he has several convictions for criminal trespass and commuted disorderly conduct. In this incident, Your Honor, it occurred at 579 Boulevard on yesterday. The victim in this case is Tawana Jones. That's Tawana. The warrant indicates in this case that Mr. Taylor had went to the location to retrieve some belongings. However, when he was refused entry into the location, he became irate and began banging on the door. When she went outside to instruct him that he could no longer enter the property or she would not allow him inside, he got irate with the victim and he pushed her off of the steps, I guess that are in front of the building, and she landed on the grass. After she landed on the grass, he went down to the front window of the living room of the unit, continued to bang on it until it was shattered. This defendant did receive lacerations on his arms as a result of shattering that window. The report also indicates that the victim in this case was arrested at the time of the incident. However, I want to make it clear for the record, Your Honor, that she was not arrested in connection with this incident. She was arrested for a separate and distinct offense not related to this one. Because we're concerned about this defendant's risk of reoffense and intimidation of this particular witness, because they did used to live together, we are going to request a $3,500 total surety bond. That's $1,000 for the criminal trespass and $2,500 for the simple battery. To have no further contact with the victim in this case, stay away from the incident location. The state would also ask for a one-time escort if this defendant does have anything left at that property. 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. On the criminal trespass is 1,000, on the simple battery is 500. The total bond is 1,500. This is a surety bond. Stay away from 579 Boulevard in Atlanta, Georgia. No contact with Tawana Jones. And one time, he may return to the property one time only with a police officer on 2 conditions. As long as Miss Jones is at the property, in other words, he cannot enter the property unless Miss Jones is there. And number 2, that he can only be there with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings and then leave. Thank you. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next court date is July 7.
Yeah.
Position 8, Fuller.
Mr. Fuller, Anthony Fuller, is case number 22 CR 004-000D, accused of simple battery domestic violence from June 22nd, 2022. Mr. Fuller, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Kim. Or is it Miss Gant?
Your Honor, this is also a conflict case.
Also a conflict case. All right.
Yes, Your
thank you.
Honor. Just
All
three with
right.
me.
Okay, so Mr. Fuller, you do have a right to an attorney. One could be appointed to represent you. Unfortunately, you don't qualify for the public defender's office as they have to recuse themselves. So we have to appoint a conflict defense attorney. At this stage, at an initial appearance, appointment of counsel can be deferred until your next court proceeding. So I would like to remind you of your right to remain silent. The only issue we're going to decide today is what kind of bond you're going to receive and how much, based on your criminal record history, your likelihood to reoffend, or the alleged threat that you may pose to a victim, property, to yourself, or to the community. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so please remember your right to remain silent and do not speak anything until you've had a chance to confer with conflict counsel. Okay, Mr. Toussaint, any priors on Mr. Fuller, position 8?
14 total. Last was 2008 burglary. It was amended to theft by taking conviction. Possession of tools, criminal damage to property was dead docket.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, our recommendation is going to be a $3,000 signature bond, no further contact with the victim, a stay away, well, the victim, Jason Bryant, a stay away from address 990 Spark Street Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, one-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. That's going to be based on his history. All of his history is from 2008 and before. So we want to understand that violence is not okay, but right now we're recommending the $3,000 signature bond at this time.
All right. Mr. Fuller, your bond is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. You cannot return to Spark Street. Do you have another place to stay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So once you report to pretrial, you must update us with your new address within 30 days. You will report to pretrial once a month. You can't afford to get arrested again because otherwise the next time your bond will be a surety bond. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have to have no contact with the alleged victim over here. I'm trying. That would be Jason Bryant.
Yes,
All right.
yes,
And do you have personal belongings at Spark Street?
yes.
All right. You can return one time only with a police officer to retrieve your belongings. And when you move to a different location, you need to let us know what's the new address so we can send you your new court date.
All right.
If you don't do that, you're going to miss your court date and then we have to issue a bench warrant for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck, sir.
Your Honor, did we do the AA?
Morris,
I'm sorry, Ms. Mitchell, what was that?
Did we do the one day anger awareness course?
that's okay.
For that case?
Come on, what's your name?
Sure, why not?
Come on, Duncan.
Francois, could you tell Fuller he needs to do a one-day anger awareness class with pretrial services?
Fuller, did you hear that?
I wonder, I ain't.
Yes. You got it?
For what?
You said where at?
It'll be done through pretrial services. They will instruct him where to do it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Courtroom 2, who do we have next?
Position 5, Duncan.
Okay. Is this conflict 2?
No,
No,
he's
no.
not. He's
Okay.
finished yet.
All right, I have Mr. Jorge Duncan. Is it Jorge or George?
Jorge.
Mr. Duncan is case number 22 CR 003997D, accused of simple battery, domestic violence, and criminal trespass from May 27, 2022. Mr. Duncan, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. Mr. Tusa?
6 total. He got history out of New York and New Jersey. 2019 out of New York, possession of a forged instrument. Failed to give way to the right. As far as New Jersey, 2018 terrorist threats, carjacking, theft by receiving stolen property. Another 2018 arrest for theft by deception, identity crime, credit card theft, fraud. Last arrest in Georgia was 2020, driving without a valid license.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For the simple battery, family violence is a $2,500 surety bond. For the criminal trespass, a $500 surety bond. That's a total of $3,000 surety bond. No contact with the victim, Yarume Rose, and for the record, that's Y-A, R as in Robert, U, M as in Mary, E-Y, and Rose is traditional spelling. To stay away from the incident location at, for the record, 3275 Princeton Lake Parkway, apartment 9110 in Atlanta. One-day anger management class, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, this defendant poses a risk of intimidating the victim here. He kicked in her apartment door, grabbed her by the shoulders and pushed her against the wall, Your Honor. There was also video footage of this from the officers body camera, which showed the broken locks in the apartment door and also showed Ms. Rose demonstrating to the officer how the defendant attacked her. The defendant was eventually arrested, and these events did occur here in this jurisdiction, Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, given the fact that this defendant is a multi-state offender, we are requesting that $3,000 surety bond. He poses a risk of reoffending and poses a risk of committing felonies while out on bond, Your Honor. So for that reason, we are asking for that $3,000 surety bond. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gant?
Yes, Your Honor. Prior to proceeding, I would like to just clarify the address for the stay away request.
3725 Princeton Lake Parkway, apartment 9110 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jorge Duncan is 29 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 4 years. He has 2 minor children, 2 daughters, ages 10 and 3. His daughters live with him, and he does. One child lives with him and he pays child support for the other. We are unopposed to the stay away at the incident location. However, Your Honor, I would request a one-time law enforcement escort. Mr. Duncan informs me that he does have a few belongings here or at that address. He completed high school. He also has an associate's degree in business. He is employed at GXO as an inventory specialist. He has been in that position for the last 1.5 years. Your Honor, my client denies the allegations. We did not hear disposition for the 2018 terrorist threats and carjacking case. So as I heard, there are no convictions for violence, Your Honor. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Duncan's behalf, and if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, I would ask for a low bond of no more than $1,000 for the simple battery and $500 for the criminal trespass. And lastly, again, we are unopposed to the no contact and the stay away orders. Thank you.
And the simple battery is $1,500. On the criminal trespass is $1,000. Total bond is $2,500. It is a surety bond. Next court date is July 7th. No further contact with Miss Rose, your roommate Rose. Stay away from 3275 Princeton Lake Parkway in Atlanta. He may return one time only with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings. Within 30 days of being released from the jail, he must update the court with his new mailing address. And no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms, and no alcohol. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next is position 9, Mr. Jassim.
I have Mr. Murad Gashim. Gashim, all right. Mr. Gashim has been accused of battery, domestic violence from May 28th, 2022. Mr. Gashim, you have a right to remain silent as so advised, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Gant. Any priors on Mr. Gashim?
Second arrest, 2014 driving without a valid license dismissed. This is the one with the TPO that was issued on the 8th and expires on July 1st.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, in this case, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond. No further contact with the victim, Judy, spelled Judy, Tran, spelled Tran. A stay away from her address, 1178 Piedmont Avenue Northeast, A9, Atlanta, Georgia. A one-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, in this case, the defendant battered his longtime girlfriend, Miss Tran, by stepping on her heel, the heel of her shoe, causing her to fall, and by striking her, leaving her with visible bruising and swelling to her arms, legs, and face. According to the police report, it started with a verbal dispute between the defendant and Ms. Tran. When she asked for her keys back, the defendant got upset and then stepped on the back of her heel to make her fall. She stated he's done this before. Ms. Tran began to walk into her apartment building. While walking in, she called him, quote, a bitch, end quote. And that's when he reached around and hit her on her face. Our victim advocate did have an opportunity to speak with Ms. Tran. She stated that she's known the defendant for 16 years and they were in a relationship for 10 years, and that they didn't live together at the time of the incident, but that they have lived together before. And she also stated on that day, he got upset that she called him out. So that's why he slapped her so hard that she fell to the ground and had a bruised and swollen face, and then also had bruising on her legs and arms. She went to urgent care and they gave her 2 shots for the pain. She also stated she couldn't fully open her mouth for 3 weeks, and that it was also hard for her to eat. She also stated that the defendant's aggressiveness progressed and this year, and she's now afraid of him. She has been going to a women's support group as a result of the incident. As heard from pretrial, she does have a TPO on him, and they have a hearing coming up for that. She also emailed us pictures of her injuries and medical documents. So based on that, we are recommending the surety bond. I'm not sure if she's on the
He
Zoom.
has a TPO against her or vice versa?
No, she got one on him.
And it doesn't expire till next month?
She told our victim advocate that she has a hearing coming up. So I'm not sure. I'm
Would
not
you happen
sure
to have the
details
case
of that.
number? Or is it in Fulton?
Let me look that up, Your Honor.
No, that's okay. I was just curious. That's all
You
right.
talking about the TPO?
No, you be quiet.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry, not you, Tucson. I'm so sorry. I
Oh.
thought that was Mr. Gashim. No, Tucson, I didn't mean to quiet you down. No, never, not in this lifetime.
Yeah, it's in Fulton.
Okay, it's in Fulton. Do you have the case number?
2022 CV 365770.
770. Okay, all right. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Murad Gashem is 28 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 1 year. Your Honor, we are unopposed to the stay away at the incident location. However, Mr. Gashem advises me that the complaining witness, Ms. Tran, is still in possession of his wallet with his driver's license and credit cards. He does have a friend here, and I'm happy to provide that information in the chat if we can request a one-time law enforcement, perhaps through him. Mr. Gasem completed high school. He is currently employed at Grana, which is a restaurant. He's an assistant kitchen manager. He has been in this position for 1 year and 4 months. Your Honor, my client denies the allegations, and at this point, he is presumed innocent. He does not have any prior convictions for violence or much history whatsoever. I am requesting a signature bond. He is recommended, Your Honor. And again, we are unopposed to the stay away, but would ask for that one-time law enforcement escort to be arranged with a third party.
Thank you. All right, with regards to the temporary protective order, so yes, an ex parte order against Mr. Gashim was granted, and he's got a hearing on the ex parte order presently scheduled for July 1st at 11 a.m. before Judge Manning. However, Mr. Gashim has not yet been served with the ex parte order. So now that he knows about it, that is still not tantamount to legal service. The petition was filed on June 8th, 2020. This incident occurred on May 28th, 2022. So I guess this is just double whammy, I guess, for Mr. Gashim. Ms. Gant, my concern is with regards to the nature of the allegations over here. This is Mr. Gashim. You said this was his second arrest, correct, Mr. Tucson?
Yes.
All right. So he's going to be on a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. He's trapped. Now, Mr. Gashim, what I'm going to tell you, if you had attended a protective order hearing, and if the protective order had been granted against you, you're going to hear the same thing what I'm about to tell you. You are to have no further contact with Judy Tran. You are to stay 200 yards away from her. You cannot communicate with her in person, through a third party, through a phone, electronic device, social media. Absolutely no contact. You're not to be seen anywhere where she happens to be, whether she's at home, whether she's at work, or if she's standing on the sidewalk. You are to stay away from the, I'm assuming they share the same location?
At one point, Your Honor. But he
Correct.
informs me that he doesn't have any belongings there except for that item that I mentioned, the wallet.
Mhm. All right, and this would be, I'm sorry, Miss Mitchell, you have to, I switched screens, so tell me the address where he has to stay away from.
It's gonna be 1178 Piedmont Avenue Northeast, Unit A9, Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, so he has to stay away from that location. He can go there one time only with a police officer to retrieve his personal belonging. And I believe you said it was a wallet, Miss Gant?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so that's the only item he's permitted to retrieve. If there are any other items and they appear to be in dispute, he cannot touch them. Within 30 days of being released on a signature bond, he will update the court with his new address so we can send him notice as to where, when his next court date is. All right, and oh, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms, and no alcohol. Okay?
Your Honor, are we doing the anger awareness course too?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. 1 day anger awareness program.
Thank you.
Mr. Gashim, if you want to attend that protective order hearing, you might want to reach out to the Superior Court Family Violence Division and get the Zoom link to attend. Okay, thank you. It's on July 1st at 11 a.m.
It's through pretrial, correct?
Sorry, Francois, what was that?
It's through pretrial, correct? The 5,000 is.
5,000 pre-trial, yeah.
Position 7, Mr. Ford.
Armando Ford is accused of theft of services on June 22nd, 2022 at a Taco Mac on Peachtree Street, case number 22 CR 003-999C. Mr. Ford, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Gant. Mr. Tusa?
Hold on. Last arrest was in April for trespass. It was an open trespass out of Bibb County. On probation for the criminal trespass, April 22 CR 002-277C.
All right, that's good.
Okay.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's requesting a $1,000 surety, a stay away from the Taco Mac on 933 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As Your Honor is aware, the defendant obtained food and beverage services valued at $59.28 from the Taco Mac and failed to pay. The state's concern here is defendant may be a flight risk, being that he, in his history from California, does have an escape of an MH facility. He also doesn't appear to have any apparent ties to the community here in Georgia. His history is from California. He was born in California and his license is in California.
No.
Mr. Ford, please remain silent. Remain silent, Mr. Ford.
And Your Honor, due to his history with MH, we also have concerns with that since he was committed once in 2018 and 2013. So we are requesting a $1,000 surety. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Armando Ford is 31 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for a few months. He does have a cousin here, Your Honor, Mr. Ford completed high school. He also has some college credits in the area of psychology. At this time, he is unemployed. However, he is seeking work at Cracker Barrel. He does not have the means to pay much, if anything, toward bond. I am requesting a signature bond. He denies the allegations. We are unopposed to the stay away. And if your honor determines that he's ineligible for a signature bond, I would ask for a bond of no more than $250.
Okay. Bond is set 500. It is a surety bond. Stay away from Taco Mac at 993 Peachtree Street. Next court date is July 7.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
All right.
Next, we have position 12, Morris. That was a $500 good bond, correct, Judge?
That's correct. Mr. Tamir Morris, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Where's this mask, Francois?
Put your mask on.
All right. Case number 22 CR 004-003E, accused of simple battery from June 22nd, 2022. Mr. Morris, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gann. Any prize, Mr. Tucson?
5 total. I got 2017 out of Hollywood. It says ADW with force. I think that's assault with deadly weapon. 2016 battery with serious bodily injury. And the ADW with force, again, that was a conviction. 2012 out of Indiana, public intoxication, operating vehicle while intoxicated.
All right.
That's it. Yeah,
That's
it.
good.
He doesn't have an address.
All right. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, in this case, well, as far as our recommendation goes, we're recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, William Todd, spelled T-O-D-D, a stay away from the Waffle House on 66th 5th Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, 1-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, the defendant battered a Waffle House patron, Mr. Todd, in this case by striking him in the face with his sweatshirt. According to the report, the defendant stated that he was at Waffle House for a job interview and was changing in the restroom for said interview. There was some sort of confusion or dispute thereafter that led the defendant to believe Mr. Todd and other staff members made unknown remarks that made defendant feel harassed by Mr. Todd. And so that's why he hit him. That's what the defendant told the officer at the time. And based on what pretrial stated with his history, this isn't his first crime of violence. So based on that, we are recommending the $2,000 surety bond. Thank you.
Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Tamir Morris is 34 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 1 year. He does not have any family here, nor does he have anyone to assist with bond, Your Honor. We are opposed to the stay away at the incident location. Mr. Morris informs me that, as we heard, he was there applying for a job. He had conversations with the manager there regarding future employment, Your Honor. Mr. Morris obtained a GED. He also has some college credits in general studies. He is currently employed as a general laborer at Staff Works, and he was actually looking to look for something that's not as labor intensive and move on to work at Waffle House or something similar, Your Honor. He denies the allegations, and to the extent that we can rely on the pretrial services report, the report that I received states that he is eligible for a signature bond. However, I acknowledge the history that we heard in court. For these reasons, Your Honor, I am still requesting a signature bond. And if Your Honor is not inclined to grant one, then I would ask for the lowest bond possible, as again, he is residentially challenged. We are putting, a consult in place to assist in that regard. He does not get, full-time work with the staffing agency. He doesn't have the means to pay much of anything toward bond. So again, a signature bond or the lowest bond possible. And we would ask for to not have a stay away from the Waffle House, and we're unopposed to the no contact order.
$1,000 signature bond through the jail. Yes, he must stay away from the Waffle House on 66 Fifth Street. No contact with William Todd, which means he has to stay 200 yards away from that location and not have any contact with Mr. Todd, as long as he's working there or a patron there. He's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons or any firearms. Within 30 days of being released on signature bond, he needs to give us contact information as to where we can send him notice for his next court date. He needs to come down to the court within 30 days of being released to the clerk's office and give us his contact information. Mr. Morris, does any of that register?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And hopefully he's getting some interview tips from Staff Works. Yes? No? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Judge Law, I do have some quick announcements. Oh, well, I'll go ahead and let Courtroom 3 go then.
Courtroom.
No, let me just go ahead and say my quick announcements real quick.
All right, Francois, before they interrupt you, go ahead.
I do have 5 cases. As far as their cases are, they waived their appearance due to quarantine. However, they were still interviewed. Let me go ahead and give you the positions. Position 2.
Mario Andrews?
Yes. But
Okay,
who's actually a conflict.
okay. So I don't know if that's been waived, so that's
Yes.
that. If not, that's going to be reset to tomorrow.
Judge, he's been reset, this is Katrina, I'm sorry, he's been reset several times for
Well,
medical
Judge-
reason, and plus they have the victim, she's been on the line ever since.
He
Oh,
was
okay.
the parents, Judge Law.
Okay, so position 2, we don't know. Position, what about position 4?
Judge Law, he did waive his appearance.
He did? Okay,
Yes.
all right. And he's going to be represented by conflict?
He was interviewed, but he doesn't have a,
Okay, Ms. Gant, Mario Andrews, is he going to be represented by conflict? Is your office recusing itself?
That is my understanding, Your Honor.
All right, on the battery is going to be a $1,500 bond. The simple battery is $1,000. His total bond is $2,500. It is a good bond. No contact with the victims. Stay away from the incident location. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Next court date is July 7th.
Your Honor, is this your ruling for Andrews?
Yes.
Judge, I just want to let you know that the victim, Sarita Elder, has been on the line for position number 2.
Okay, we'll get back to that one.
So
What are the other announcements, Francois?
then we also have position 11, waived his appearance due to quarantine, but he has been interviewed.
Okay, position 11 is DUI and failure to maintain lane, and I don't know why the electronic warrant judge did not issue a bond for these charges. So are you saying that's a waiver of his appearance?
Yes, he's been interviewed. I was gonna give you all the positions that's been interviewed, and they're in quarantine, but waived their appearance.
Okay. All right, so position 11, we're going to be addressing his bond. And is he represented by public defense right now?
Yes, that is correct. The rest of the cases that I'm gonna give you has been already interviewed by either Ms.
Okay,
Gant
and
or
who
Ms.
else?
Position 13,
Donald Moss, that's a waiver, yes.
yes. Also position 16,
Chairman Pierce, I've already set a bond, I've already addressed him.
position 16, I think that's supposed to be Dudley Remicky.
Oh, okay, Remicky, all right, 16. Ms. Gant, is that public defense?
I believe that is Ms. Kim's case, Remicky.
Okay, very good. And what about Carrington South?
Hold on, that's in courtroom 3, Judge. I'm gonna
Okay,
give
who
you-
else?
Also, position 19 and 20, they're the same person, Robert Ward.
Okay, that's Robert Moore, got it.
And Officer Norris did say he was going to go ahead and do Mr. Andrews. That was position number 2.
Yeah, got that.
So he's gonna actually do him over the phone
Because he's a conflict.
because he's a conflict. Oh, he already got his bond. Never mind.
He got his bond?
And Your Honor, on Mr. Andrews, I just want to put on the record, he has 3 open felony cases against the same victim, where he was granted bond and he's in violation of all of his 3 bond orders on this prior
Okay.
cases.
I'm going to hear from Ms. Elder, then I'll revisit the bond. But can we go on to the courtroom 3 then, where we actually do have folks in the courtroom?
Yes, we're done. We're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
Francois, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Judge.
All right, be safe. Thank you.
All right, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, courtroom 3. I see a lady with pink hair. Okay. I thought it was a color change on the screen. Okay, for individuals who are in courtroom 3, my name is Judge Law. This is going to be a misdemeanor accusation calendar. So please remember your right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, the public defender's office will represent you. In either case, if the public defender's office is recusing itself and you need conflict counsel, then that attorney will be appointed to represent you at the next proceeding. But in any event, please remember your right to remain silent. Okay, who do we have in courtroom 3? Is there a deputy in courtroom 3 or is the screen frozen? All right, ma'am, you have to sit back from the table.
Is this
What's
number
the
4?
question? I'm sorry.
I am talking to the folks in courtroom 3. Who do we have seated at front?
Position number 4, Judge.
4, thank you. Okay, I have Yamaya Davis Rebellier, accused of criminal trespass from May 24th, 2022. Ms. Davis Rebellier, your case number is 22 CR 003996C. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. Mr. Toussaint, any crimes?
Second arrest. 2019 out of New York, assault 3rd degree, harassment 2nd degree. And it says act in manner injured, child less than 17. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For the criminal trespass charge, we're asking for a $5,000 signature bond, giving her light history. No contact with her mother. The victim is Shanara Davis, and it's spelled S-H-A-N as in Nancy, A-R-A, and the last name is Davis. To stay away from the incident location at 2949 Browns Mill Road, Southeast in Atlanta. That you take a 1-day anger management class, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gant, any objection?
No objections, Your Honor, and we do not need a one-time law enforcement escort.
All right. Ms. Davis Rebellier, your bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You don't have to pay for your bond today, but you will report to pretrial once a month. If you fail to report or if you get arrested again, you will lose the signature bond, which means you'll be back in jail and you'll have to pay $5,000 the next time. Do you understand?
Yes.
You are to stay away from your, I guess that is your mother, Shamika Davis. You're not to have any contact with her. You have to stay 200 yards away from her. Do not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. If she initiates contact with you, you are required by law to disregard that contact. Do you follow me?
Yes.
No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. And you will attend and complete a one-day anger awareness program with pretrial services. Your next court date, well, within 30 days of being released, you have to give us a good contact address for you so we can send you your next court date.
Okay.
Will that be in Atlanta? Will that be in Georgia?
I live in Lithonia now. I can't remember the exact address, but it's in Lithonia.
As long as it's in Georgia, just make sure you let us know within 30 days of being released. If you get notice and you don't show up, we have to arrest you and you lose your signature bond.
How do I let you know?
You can come down to the courthouse at 160 Prior Street in office J150 and let us know.
Are you paying attention now? Yeah, but I'm not gonna remember that address.
All right, yeah, that's what it takes. Lots of work.
Okay.
Or you can hire an attorney to do that for you.
That's fine.
Okay, see you later. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Donna.
you.
Next case.
Position number 10. Position number 10 is next, please.
Tammy McCullough is accused of theft by taking on June 22nd, 2022. Actually, I think it's several incidences. But Ms. McCullough is accused of theft by taking in case 22 CR 004-002Y. Ms. McCullough, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Gant. Yes, Mr. Tucson, any priors?
18 total. Last arrest was 2020, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. That's open, 20 CP 191626. She has history out of South Carolina. 2012 petty larceny, 2011 assault, battery, 3rd degree. 2011 assault and battery, that's a felony. 2011 criminal domestic violence, 2009 possession of drugs.
All right, that's good. Thank you. All right, Ms. Mitchell, this is the alleged amount of a collection of over $500 from Nordstrom Rack, correct?
Yes, correct,
Okay.
Your Honor.
And what's your bond recommendation for her?
There's a current bond of $1,000 surety, and the state's going to request that that bond remain the same. We were missing the GCIC for Georgia, so we're just going to request that the bond remain the same and defer to pretrial's history. We're also requesting a stay away from the Nordstrom Rack on 6200 North Point Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Tammy McCullough is 51 years old. She has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area since 2015. She has a 16-year-old son, and she also informs me that she does have a spouse and family here, other family members here. We are unopposed to the stay away at the incident location. Ms. McCullough completed high school, and she will be starting a new job at Delta Home Care shortly, Your Honor. Today we are denying the allegations. She's presumed innocent, Your Honor. I am requesting a signature bond. I did not hear disposition for the larceny conviction, the larceny matter, and I believe that that was years ago. So in light of my client not having any theft convictions, I would ask for a signature bond, Your Honor. And if Your Honor determines that she is ineligible, then the lowest bond possible. Thank you.
3,500 signature bond through pretrial services. I don't know if I have to do it per judge on that one.
Yes.
Okay. Report to pretrial once a month, and she must maintain her contact information with the court at all times. Her next court date will be sent to her at her current address, and to stay away from the Nordstrom Rack on North Point Parkway. No illegal drugs, no weapons. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Position number 17 is next.
Was that 7, Sarge?
17, I'm sorry.
17.
17.
Okay. I have Carrington Lee South accused of theft by shoplifting from September 14th, 2019. Ms. South, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
14 total. Last arrest was 2 days ago in Forsyth County for shoplifting. She got a lot of FTAs. 2018 false statements or writings, giving false name. False statements was amended. Giving false name was a conviction out of Hall County. And it's just more FTAs. 2016 possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. She got first offender for that. 2016 failure to appear in simple battery. 2016 giving false name conviction. More FTAs. 2015 theft by conversion conviction.
That's good.
I got
Thank
one
you.
more.
All right.
Well, two more. 2014 battery conviction, 2014 simple battery conviction.
Thank you. All right, Miss Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor, if I just may add that this defendant does also have probation violation guilty convictions from 2016 and 2018. In this case, we have filed it with the tolling language that allows it to be prosecuted within the time period for OGCA section 17.3-1 and the other applicable statutes. So the statute of limitations has not run. In this case, it occurred at a CVS on 11625 Jonesbridge Road in Alpharetta. The defendant is accused of having taken a rechargeable, flawless body rechargeable razor with a value of at least $30. Given this defendant, we have a concern about this defendant's risk of reoffense, given that this defendant does have a prior death conviction, as well as several FTAs and probation violations. We are going to request $1,000 surety to stay away from the incident location, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. South says she is 25 years old. She has been here in Georgia all her life. She has one child who is only 4 months old, and she really needs to get back to her baby. She says that on September 14, 2019, that's when she just probably was done with her open heart surgery to amputate her right leg. She was hospitalized from May to September 2019. She could not remember exactly what date she was discharged from the hospital, and yet she does not recall ever driving out to Alpharetta because she was very hard to move at the time after that huge surgery to remove her right leg. And also she's mainly hanging out at Beaufort and Gainesville area. So we believe that this could be somebody else. And we would like to request for a signature bond for this one. And she really got to go back to take care of her 4 month child, 4 month baby, because of the shortage of baby formula lately. Thank you, Your Honor.
$1,000 signature bond through the jail to stay away from CVS at 11625 Jonesbridge Road. And she needs to update us with her current address so we can send a notice of when to come back to court. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Judge, that's all I have in Courtroom 3.
All right, thank you. I think that concludes the calendar with the exception of any cases that have been waived. So, Ms. Kim, which cases have you waived that I've not addressed?
I think I did both of them, but I'll double check, Your Honor.
What about Dinesh Mohan?
That's Ms. Gantz, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. And do you represent Andrew? No, you don't represent Andrews. Okay. Oh, and Robert Moore?
I'm supposed to do Dudley Remicky.
What position number is that?
Remicky 16, Your Honor.
16.
Did I do that? Oops.
All right. So Dudley Remicky is accused of simple battery domestic violence, case number 22 CR 003938E. The alleged offense date for this case is June 20th, 2022. In this particular case, if you just give me a moment, please, I'm just trying to get to the screen. Mr. Remicky was booked at the Fulton County Jail
Yes.
on June 21st, 2022. The case has been reset and Public Defense Counsel has now waived his appearance. Mr. Tucson, any priors on Mr. Remicky?
This second arrest. Kim, you got the bond assessment, so the prior is on there. I'm sure state knows it. It's out of DeKalb County. This is CWAC.
Okay. Ms. Duncan, I'm aware of the underlying CWAC charge with regards to Mr. Remicky. Any other recommendations with regards to bond?
I understand, Your Honor. In this case, the state is going to recommend a $2,000 surety bond. No further violent contact with the victim in this case, Miss Tierra Granger, that's Tierra. The state is recommending this because, Your Honor, this is the defendant's apparent second arrest. And in this case, Your Honor, he is accused of spitting on this victim after becoming irate with her during a verbal altercation that they had. The victim in this case did call the police and they documented the incidents as alleged by the victim in this case. And she had taken photos. She told officers that she did take photos of the spit in her face. And for this reason, we have made contact with her. She says that they were together for 2 years and they have a 4-month-old child, but they don't currently live together. She said that there has been some DV history in their relationship though. She said that they were arguing and he spit on her, as I've said, and she stated that she is intimidated by this defendant. So the victim, but she also stated that she does not want him to have jail time. She would be more happy to have some type of anger management. Since I'm going to revise what I said, my apologies. Since she did state to us that she is intimidated by him, we would ask for no further contact at all. And for the child, we're going to ask for a third party to stay away from the incident location, since it's not clear as to whose residence that is. According to our records, the incident location was 105 Meadow Pass. That's MEADOW Pass, common spelling, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing further from the state.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Remicky is 21 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for all his life. The reason I thought I also did him was because he also has a 4-month-old baby as well. She's a girl, and right now his house key is at the inside of the car where it is, I guess, towed to the office facility, sheriff's office. But anyway, it has all the baby formula and baby clothing and all that kind of stuff in that house. Their brother and sister are trying to take care of the baby right now for the last 3 days. And they're having very, very difficult time because apparently Ms. Tierra and Mr. Remicky, they do not live together. So, and they don't have much contact with each other. And they're having very hard time right now with how to take care of the newborn baby. So, and he does not have a COVID-19, however, he's also quarantined and he's very frustrated with not being able to take care of her child. His wish is basically not only to get out of the jail as fast as he can, at least he want to get the house key to someone who can take care of the baby, so that way that person can get the baby formula. He graduated from high school and he has a HVAC training from Atlanta Technical College. He also has a gainful employment for the last 6 months in the same place, and he does not oppose to stay away or no further contact. We would like to request for signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, please give him $250 surety bond and access to his house key for someone who can take care of the baby. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I see that the victim is on the line. If she would like to speak, the court may sound for her at its discretion.
No, she's not on the line no more. She got off.
Okay.
All right. Bond is set at $1,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial services per judge. No contact with Tierra Granger. No alcohol, no drugs, and no weapons. He needs to attend a one-day anger awareness program, and he needs to update us with his address within 30 days of being released. If he wants to have parenting, co-parenting rights with the child in question, he needs to file a legitimation action and set forth his visitation and custody rights per court order.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Yeah, I did say per judge.
I said, how much?
Oh, 1,000.
Thank
you. All right, your next case, Ms. Kim, that's it?
No, 19 and 20. I can do 19 and 20.
Yeah. 19 and 20, we have Robert Warr, W-A-R-R. Mr. Warr's first case is 22 CR 003939F. He was accused of battery, domestic violence from an alleged November 16, 2021 incident. His second case is 22 CR 003940F, a second count of battery, domestic violence from an April 11, 2022 incident. Mr. Warr was arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. However, his case has been reset quite a few times, I understand. He was booked in on the 21st, and this will be his third appearance where he has not been present. So public defense counsel Kim has waived his appearance. Mr. Tucson, any priors with regards to Mr. Warr? I'm sorry, unmute.
25 total.
Repeat that?
25 total.
25, okay.
You got a bench warrant out of state court. That's a $10,000 bond. 21 CR 002-918F. That's for simple battery family violence. Let's see. You got a trespass, assault, a deadly weapon, possession of a Schedule 1 controlled substance, 2 counts, well, 3 counts actually. Sale of marijuana, possession of drug-related objects, and obstruction. That's from June 4th out of Clayton County. The June 2021 simple battery, 2 counts. 2019 probation violation, 2018 probation. Underlying charge was possession of cocaine. He had a battery DV that was dismissed from 2018 out of DeKalb County. Cocaine with intent to distribute conviction from 2017 out of DeKalb. More probation violations. You want more?
No, that's good. Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Yes, Your Honor. I just like to add for this record that the defendant does have 2 additional battery convictions out of 2012. And he had an additional battery family violence arrest that was also dismissed. In this case, I wanted to clarify for the record that 21 CR 002918F, simple battery family violence, was against this same victim, where he did receive a $10,000 SOB through pretrial per Judge Law on June 19, 2021. And in that bond, it did have a stay away condition from the victim in today's case. Additionally, there is an open battery family violence case against this same defendant with the same victim, 21 CR 002919F. And in that case, he received a $10,000 good bond on the same date, which also did include no further contact with this victim. My research indicated that this defendant is also wanted for simple assault, in addition to the charges that pretrial has stated, Your Honor. So going into this, I just want to be clear for the record that this will be his 4th type of domestic violence incident against this same victim. In this first case, Your Honor, that occurred on November 16th, 2021. The victim is Miss Jessica L. Rosenthal. Rosenthal is Rosenthal, and it occurred at 935 Blue Ridge Avenue Northeast, Apartment 4. In this case, Your Honor, officers responded to a call by Ms. Rosenthal, and she stated to officers that earlier that day she was fixing her bed, and her then boyfriend, Mr. Ward, began arguing with her over going to work. And the next thing that she knew, the defendant in this case said that he was feeling disrespected. So he began to punch her in the face and all over her body. Due to this altercation, she had some redness on her face and scratches over her neck and hands. In addition, he did do some damage to things in her house and threw her things around before leaving the incident location. In this case, we are concerned about the risk of reoffense. As I stated before, he does have other open violent cases against the same defendant, victim, and there is risk of intimidation of this witness because obviously, Your Honor, he keeps doing violent offenses against the same victim. We have a concern about the flight risk. This defendant does have previous FTAs, and for these reasons, we're going to request that this case get a $5,000 cash only bond. No further contact with the victim in this case, Jessica Rosenthal, but stay away from the incident location. FVIP, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further violations of Georgia law. Would Your Honor like me to continue with the second case?
Yes, please.
For the second case, the incident is alleged to have occurred on April 12th, 2022. The victim in this case is also Miss Jessica Rosenthal, which I said.
Yeah, did you April 12th or April 11th? I'm sorry, I have April 11th. Do you have a different date?
I have April 12th.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, it was from, the warrant says April 11th through 10 p.m. through April 12th, 1 a.m. Okay, I understand. Go ahead.
Officers arrived to that same location previously mentioned, 935 Blue Ridge Avenue Northeast, Apartment 4. At that time, the victim in this case stated to officers that she had actually broken up with Mr. Ward earlier that day, and he showed up to her job because he was not accepting of the fact that she no longer wanted to be with him. So he made her ride with him to her home, and once they arrived, she told him that she did not want him in her building. So she went into her apartment, and he continued to yell and bang on the door after she had left his presence. And eventually he shattered the window to the front door of her apartment. When she opened to tell him to leave, he got past her. And once inside the apartment, he became irate, and initially he slapped her, Your Honor, and then he proceeded to attempt to choke her and began striking her, which caused bruises and scratches because he struck her in the head with a closed fist. Your Honor, the warrant does indicate, well, the police report indicates that she had a 1.5 inch laceration above her eye in this case, and she sustained bruising and scratches to her face. In addition, she stated to officers that he also bit her fingers during this altercation. Further, the victim stated that her and the defendant went to CVS to get supplies to clean up her injuries. And once he helped her clean up the laceration, she asked him to leave because she said that he asked her to go to bed with him, and she did not want to lay with him after he had just hit her. Because she asked him to leave, again, he became irate and started to hit her again and throw objects like a glass cup at her head, and the cup shattered upon impact with her head. It hit her another cup hit her in the arm, and she called 911 to proceed to the scene, and upon being notified that 911 was called in this incident, he fled the location. She did state to officers that he's no longer living with her. And then she gave an address to where he's currently living. In this case, obviously, Your Honor, there's a risk of reoffense, and we're concerned about that and particular intimidation of this witness and the safety of this particular witness. Since he's already out on about $20,000 worth of good bonds and signature bonds through pretrial, we're concerned additionally about the flight risk. This case too, we're going to ask for a $5,000 cash only bond, no further contact with the victim in this case, a stay away from the incident location, no further contact with her, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, FVIP, and no further violations of Georgia law. Nothing else from the state.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mr. Moore is 34 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for about 18 years. They do not live together anymore, and they do not have any children. They're not married. Currently, Mr. Moore has been a main caregiver for his mother, who is in her 70s. And they don't live together, but he has been visiting her mom often to take care of her. He is working at Tannery Row Restaurants full-time, and he has a bachelor's degree from Emory University, English major. He does not have any other major issues. He claims that I apologize for this sudden phone call. So we would like to request for signature on bond, and yet, considering all these outstanding bond issues, we would like to request for surety bond, and the amount shall be deferred to Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, with regards to all his cases, on position number 19, the battery domestic violence, that's going to be a $5,000 cash bond only. No further contact with Jessica Rosenthal, to stay away from 935 Blue Ridge Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. And if he does make bond, he has to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program within 30 days of being released. On the position number 20, same conditions, it's going to be a $10,000 cash bond only. And both cases are going to be further noticed to July 7th.
So there's a total of 15,000 cash only, correct, Your Honor?
Correct, correct. In addition to the 10,000 surety for the bench warrant.
Okay.
Okay, and once on July 7th, we're going to address all his cases, which would be the two cases on our calendar, as well as 21 CR 002918F, 21 CR 002919F. So we will address all four cases at the next SAP calendar, unless he makes bond in all of them.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, I think that addresses all the cases that Ms. Kim has got waivers. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Gant, which cases do you have waivers that I've not addressed?
Positions 11 and 13, Mohan and Moss.
11 and 13, okay.
Your Honor, who's the attorney for position 2?
Yeah, I'll be right. I don't know who's the attorney. I think that's going to be a conflict attorney. So
Yes, Your Honor.
It is going to be a conflict attorney, Judge, for number 2. The victim just on the line. She just want to stress the conditions of this bond.
yeah, I'm going to be with her very shortly. 11 and 13. Let's start with 11. Dinesh Mohan, DUI and failure to maintain lane from June 20th, 2022. Mr. Mohan's case is 22 CR 003933Y. For some bizarre reason, no bonds were set on these traffic matters, but he's been booked at the jail and case has been reset. So counsel for Mr. Mohan has waived his appearance. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
No.
Okay. Ms. Tortorella, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. What's your recommendation?
For the DUI, a $4,000 surety bond. For the failure to maintain lane, a $500 surety bond. It's a total of $4,500. No driving, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, the reason for the surety, we understand that this defendant has no prior convictions, is a public safety concern, Your Honor, and the facts of this matter. On June 20th, 2022, the officer observed the vehicle failing to maintain its lane several times on Medlock Bridge Road northbound from Skyway Drive in Johns Creek. The officer also observed the vehicle changing speeds from 70 miles per hour to 45 miles per hour for no apparent reason. The officer also observed, in addition to the driver's performance, that he had glassy red eyes, that he had present and persistent odor of alcoholic beverage emitting from his person. The driver admitted to having a mixed alcoholic beverage prior to driving. Field sobriety evaluations were done. On HEN, there were 6 out of 6 clues on the walk and turn, 4 out of 8, and the driver was unable to complete the evaluation. And for the one leg stand, it was 2 out of 4 clues. And again, the driver was unable to complete the evaluation. The officer arrested the driver for DUI and failure to maintain lane. The driver was read implied consent, where he did consent to a state administered breath test. The driver was identified as a defendant, Dinesh Mohan, and he did fail to provide a breath sample during the state administered test, Your Honor. And this did happen in Fulton County, Georgia. For that reason, Your Honor, we are asking for that $4,500 surety bond with the conditions already stated.
Okay, now I know why there was no bond. There's no warrant. Do you have a warrant, Ms. Tortorella, that's not been filed?
Your Honor, there's a warrant on record for this case. And if you want, I can share screen or just send it.
Yes, please.
All right, hold on a minute. Your Honor, there's citations. Let me look at, yeah, there's DUI citation and failure to maintain lane citation.
There is the UTC, Uniform Traffic Citation, issued by the Johns Creek PD, but he's been booked in June 20th and no warrants were issued since his book-in time. So he's Riverside. Okay, so on the DUI is going to be a $2,500 signature bond through the jail. On the failure to maintain lane, it's a $500 signature bond through the jail. Total bond is $3,000 signature bond through the jail pursuant to Riverside. Thank you. Next court date will be sent to him at his address somewhere in Duluth, Georgia, the Luna Way. All right, next case we have is Mr. Moss. Mr. Moss's case is Donald Moss, 22 CR 003935C, accused of battery from a February 13, 2022 incident. And Mr. Moss was booked in also at the Fulton County Jail a few days ago, but has been unable to attend first appearance. So counsel for Mr. Moss has waived his appearance. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
Third arrest. Last was 1991, suspended license.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Your Honor, this incident occurred at 3675 MLK Drive, which is the Bible Believers Baptist Church. The victim in this case is a Mrs. Corliss Price. Corliss is spelled Corliss, Price, common spelling. So what happened in this case, Your Honor, is that Ms. Price is employed by this church as a secretary, and the defendant in this case is employed by this church as a deacon. However, there was a meeting going on that date, and there was a verbal dispute between Ms. Price and the defendant in this case. The defendant became enraged and charged at Ms. Price on the first attempt. He was restrained, and then the argument continued to escalate according to my records, and he charged at her again, this time making contact with her body, sending her flying to the ground very, very hard. I just want to note for the record, Your Honor, that the defendant in this case is noted in the warrant as being 6'3" and 280 pounds. And the victim in this case is noted to be 5'8" and 130 pounds. So there is a significant weight difference between the two parties. There was a witness to this case, a Deacon Marvin Cook. He stated to officers that the defendant did attack the victim in this case by charging into her, and his upper body made contact, which caused her to fly to the ground. When the investigating officer in charge of this case reached out to, Ms. Price reached back out to the officers, and she indicated that because of this incident, she was having severe lower back pain in her hips and pelvis. She went to urgent care for treatment, and she stated to officers that she's currently undergoing rehabilitation for injuries to her pelvis. She did provide officers with medical records. Further, this floor, accordingly to the records, seemed to be a very hard hit, and at the time she appeared injured and in a lot of pain. Because of the violent nature of the offenses alleged, Your Honor, the state is going to request that there be a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Price, 1 day anger awareness, and no further violations of Georgia law, given the facts alleged, Your Honor, and the injuries encountered by the victim in this case.
All right. Bond is set at $7,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. Deacon Moss is not to return to the Bible Believers Baptist Church at 3675 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Southwest Atlanta. He's to stay 200 yards away from that location. And unfortunately, he would need to practice his right to religion in a different location. He is to have no contact with Miss Corliss Price. He's to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. He's also to have no further violent contact with any of the members of the congregation or the employees of the Bible Believers Baptist Church. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And he will attend a 1 day anger awareness program with pretrial services. And his next court date will be sent to him at his address. And presently we have his address as Stanley Drive. Would that be correct, Ms. Gant?
That is what I have, Your Honor.
All right. If he has a new address, make sure you let him know that he needs to update the court with his new address.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your
Yes.
Honor, if I may respectfully, as far as position 11, Mr. Mohan, this is not a Riverside issue, Your Honor, and it's the fact that he was reset was not due to the state's inaction. He was reset as a medical reset, Your Honor.
Miss Tortorello, okay, he's been reset. That's fine. But where's the warrant?
But that doesn't apply with Riverside, Your Honor, very respectfully, whether or not.
Y'all can take that up with the Georgia Court of Appeals. Even though he's been reset, y'all had plenty of time to get the warrant since the time he was booked in.
But the reset wasn't due to the state, Your Honor, the state's actions. And my argument is supported by case law, Your Honor.
I respectfully disagree.
Your Honor, I just want to put this on the record so that we are all clear.
No, I don't want to discuss this any further. Y'all can take it up with the Georgia Court of Appeals. if you
Right,
don't
and
make
in
a
order to
decision.
do that, I will need to preserve the record, Judge Law.
Okay, go ahead.
So we have 48 hours in which to have the defendant brought before this court for a first appearance under Riverside without a warrant. If for some reason it is reset, not through the actions of the state, but through something else, acts of God, whether medical resets, that is not held to the state. And so if Your Honor wants to give a $2,500 signature bond because you feel that that is appropriate in this case, that is fine, but this is not a Riverside issue.
Okay. Thank you. Position number 2. Mario Antoine Andrews. All right, I originally set a bond at $2,500 good bond with no contact with the victim. Chantrice, what was the, sorry, let me get to the screen where I put down the names.
And Your Honor, was a waiver presented to you?
I've just been taking verbal announcements of the waivers. I'm assuming that all these waivers are going to be filed with the court, emailed to Miss April Champion.
Because his attorney is not.
And I do apologize. Yes, Miss Gant and Miss Kim, go ahead and submit all your waivers in writing and deliver that straight to April Champion.
I have all those.
They are already submitted, Your Honor.
I have all theirs, but this is a conflict.
You're right. Position number 2, Andrews is a he's been in court. We've not had a conflict counsel appear. He's been in custody since June 20th.
Your Honor, he's been in medical reset since he's been on the SCA. I think it was Tuesday. That's the reason he's been reset.
Okay, so no one's filed a waiver yet, correct?
I'm not sure. Somebody in the jail said that a waiver was filed, but the attorney is not here.
Who's the attorney? Who filed the waiver?
That I do not know, Your Honor. However, Ms. Mccullough, Attorney Mccullough was appointed last few days. So maybe I can email her or call her quickly to follow up and find out.
Sure.
With a
Okay,
competent
while
attorney.
we are waiting, yeah, I've already reviewed this GCIC, and yes, my bond amount is ridiculously low, given the nature of Mr. Andrews' GCIC. So as soon as we get his counsel online, we'll be able to address it. So I'm vacating my prior decision. Let me just get to, okay, the rest of the calendar. Position number 1, Allen, is a $5,000 signature bond through a pretrial services. And this is further notice. Position 2 is pending. Position 3, Michael Brown, is a $6,000 split bond. It's a $2,000 surety bond on the battery domestic violence. And this is reset to July 7th unless he bonds out. Position 4 is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 5, Duncan, is a 2,500 surety bond, reset date July 7th. Position 6, Fisher, is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 7, Ford, is a 500 surety bond, reset date July 7th. Position 8, Fuller, is a $3,000 surety bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 9 is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 10 is McCullough, is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 11, Mohan, is a $2,500 signature bond through the jail. Position 12, Morris, is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, further notice. Position 13, Moss, is a 7,500 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 14 is a $1,100 surety bond, reset date July 7th. Position 15, Pierce, is a 2,500 surety bond, reset date July 7th. Position 16, Remicky is a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge for the notice. 17 is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail per judge for the notice. Position 18 is a $1,500 surety bond, reset date July 7.
Your Honor, if I may, I
Yeah,
wanted to clarify that the criminal trespass for position 18 is 1,000 and the other charge is the 500, correct?
yes.
All right.
So it's a $1,500 surety bond, reset date July 7. Position 19, it's a $5,000 cash bond only. Position 20 is a $10,000 cash bond only. Further notice to July 7th, in addition to the two other cases that I've mentioned. And position 21 is a $3,500 surety bond, reset date July 7th. Position 22 is a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, reset date July 7th. Okay, so Miss Kim, any luck with?
Yes, Ms. McLeod's getting on the line now.
Oh, good. Miss McLeod?
He's coming on, Judge.
Miss McLeod, good afternoon. I'm so sorry to bother you if you were doing something, but we are addressing Mario Antoine Andrews. Can you hear me, Miss McLeod? I don't think, Ms. McLeod, I don't think audio is connected.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Can
Oh,
you
there
hear me?
you are. Okay, good afternoon. Okay. We are addressing Mario Antoine Andrews, 22 CR 003-927A. Mr. Andrews has been in custody at the Fulton County Jail at least since June 19. He was, excuse me, since June 20th. 2022, accused of battery, domestic violence, and simple battery, family violence. He is going to be appointed with conflict counsel, which is you. But what we are uncertain about is whether you filed a waiver of his appearance.
I did not, Your Honor.
Okay, so would you be available tomorrow to address his case?
At what time, Your Honor?
2 p.m. at the C calendar.
Yes, Your Honor. I will
Okay.
be available tomorrow.
Okay, so his case is going to be reset to June 24th at 2 p.m. All right. And we are going to have Ms. Santresa Elder and whoever else would like to appear for this case to address his bond. I had initially set his bond at $2,500, but that was a mistake on my part. I was looking at the wrong GCIC when I put that down. So I'm going to vacate that. He actually has a significant history with open cases involving same victims. So that's what y'all are going to be dealing with tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, I'll take a look at his paperwork, Your Honor.
All right, appreciate it. All right,
And I
folks.
will be on tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I conclude. Okay, we can stop the recording.